All right.
As far as
All right. So today I'm going to be talking about a little project that we started called CaletaXP. So what is CaletaXP? It's just a really simple tool that tracks contributions from different communities using a bot without any Web3 or anything like that. And so it's probably best to just show kind of what it is, just in action. So maybe I'll just create a group. Let Deacon and
maybe we all like within the share, bro. The same.
So let's just do that. And then the thing you do to add to the group is you just add the CaletaXP bot. And once the bot's added to your group, you can start using the bot to claim points for your community. So you just do a simple command, one up, and you just do something like this where you put a name, and then the person gets a point. And basically that's it. So this bot can be added to any community. It's super easy to add, and then the points get compiled on this website that just basically compiles all the points that people have. Oh, sorry, it's pretty loud in the background. But it just compiles all the points that people get from the various communities. You can see these are the latest claims we had. You can click on your individual high scores. So if I go to my profile here, I can see all the different points I've gotten from the different chat rooms. And the idea is to eventually be able to connect my Telegram account to my Web3 address, and then as well integrate with this with DAOs, so that you can basically just submit it directly to the DAO and claim reputation or points or shares or whatever it is, or tokens straight to the DAO based on points that you've gotten in these chats. So that's kind of the high level overview of what the concept is. Yeah. So let's see. Yeah. So what's next? Basically, we want to associate the Telegram handle with the Ethereum address. We want to hook up a DAO to the whole concept, and maybe it's one up DAO. We don't know, but the idea is okay. Feed this information into a DAO. It almost acts like a reputation system in a way. We can deploy this to basically any community that wants. So if you have a community you want to test this out, go ahead. You can try it today. And then the next step would also be to modify CaletaXP to have multiple games running. So right now we just have one game, but you could imagine doing this for various different games. Maybe MetaGame is going to have one. Maybe various communities could have these and gamify actions and keep track of their reputation and one-ups separately. So it's kind of next phase as well. Maybe these are some examples of maybe some DAOs that would want to keep track of this in some way. But the nice thing is as well, because there's no Web3 onboarding, you could apply this to Web2 communities, Facebook group or Twitter, anything like that, and kind of kick the can of Web3 onboarding down the road, so that people start getting points, and then they can just onboard themselves after the fact. Yeah, and then what to do with XP and points. Once you submit it to the DAO, that's basically at the point where it's up to the DAO to figure out what to do with that. It really depends on the DAO. Maybe there's some reward programs type thing. Maybe you know, like if it was a DAO for 1 million devs, for example, maybe it was sponsored rewards. Maybe Microsoft would have rewards or something like that. Maybe if it was an events DAO, they'd have swags or tickets that people could get. Lots of opportunities there. So that's basically you know, a high level concept. But I guess I wanted to ask you guys kind of what were your thoughts on this? What could this be used for? Just generally, we're at the early stages of this, and I think we're just looking for feedback and thoughts and how this could be used for, things like that. And Deacon is also on the call. He's played a big role in kind of developing this. So yeah, if you guys have questions, or Deacon, you have anything to add, we can just open it up and have a little bit of a chat.
Yeah, just like a little background on the code. We did this all basically in like a proof of concept, super fast sprint. It's done mainly in Node-RED, which is a low-code flow kind of platform, and Airtable. And it stems, actually, maybe you could talk more about like the history behind Pepper4D and Metacartel. But yeah, so simple project, just kind of gauging how people like it right now.
Yeah, so what do you guys think? Where could this be used for? I guess might be an interesting question.
So I have a question, but I feel it's a little bit of a controversial question, but it seems like there's a lot of emphasis on creating new DAOs, where I don't know, it kind of feels like it dilutes like the entire work and spreads us even further apart. Where something like the MetaGame and the MetaFam, where we're trying to like bring everyone together and like support good DAOs and bring together like the best kind of tech people. Do you think that a lot of the education and info is based on like creating DAOs because they're still so new and we're in like the education phase, or do you think that everyone should kind of make their own organization and build from there? Like,
I don't necessarily see it as being so controversial. I mean, I see a world where there's going to be like millions of DAOs, where, you know, a DAO is just a community, and right now you have Facebook groups and probably millions of Facebook groups. So similarly, I think DAOs are going to kind of play a similar role in society. So yeah, I mean, I think that the more DAOs, the better. I think, you know, the nice thing about community is that it's not like binary. You know, you can participate in 10 different communities, and so yeah, I think there's space for like everyone. Yeah.
thank you.
But that's just my perspective. I don't know. Maybe other people have different perspective, but. Who's around?
Do you have any of the old?
I have a question, maybe for like just to say like how the story began. Like, what made you, like, what was the initial motivation, and like what made you click on like this idea of making this DAO? What's the story?
Well, the idea originally was to create a rewards program for the Metacartel DAO, where contributions would be rewarded, and then you'd be able to kind of buy weapons and items and bling with the rewards that you get. So that was kind of a pilot that we ran back in September, October, and it was pretty successful just at generating excitement and engagement. And then this MVP was really kind of the first phase of like actually trying to build that project and do it properly. Is just like the ability to dish out points. And so, you know, that's phase one, and then phase two is just building the rest of it, which is going to come later. But this is kind of the first step of all that. So that was the motivation. It's just kind of like creating a game, an easy way to play like a social game, similar to MetaGame, but like a different take on the similar concept.
Yeah, and it's like the idea of reputation and identity and these things that like metagame or different systems are trying to solve. Like I think in the future, it's not going to just be one giant system. Like the communities that you're a part of, the different ways that you're tracking your reputation, all these things are going to be like part of a larger tapestry of who you are. And that's what creates your identity, and that's what you can share. And as long as you can control that, like what is publicly viewable on your profile, which I think metagame and the metagame character creation stuff is really like fits perfectly in this. But showing which DAOs you're a member of and which things you have skin in the game into can tell a lot, or can tell a story about who you are. Yeah. So things like source cred, character creation, things like fun experiments, like CaletaXP, all these things I think will build a bigger picture.
Yeah, and I definitely see this working very well with metagame and, you know, all these different efforts. So yeah, I think it's just another piece of the puzzle.
Any other questions? Or similar projects as part of the discussion point?
It's been a long day, right? I feel like some people are fucking exhausted in here.
Yeah, there's like
Even bots are excited, are tired. Yeah. I want to say like why. So why none of the already existing DAOs could work? That like what made you decide to like make a new DAO and not use any of the like fork any of the current DAOs and just like work on that?
I don't know why not. I mean, it's a slightly, you know, I think everyone should start a DAO. I don't know why not. I mean, any effort that has like a vision or like a direction they want to go. I mean, why not just launch a DAO? I mean, you know, you can work with other DAOs. I think that's the beauty. So there's no borders.
Easy answer that like why not? Like it reminds me of like the Big Bang Theory that they connected the lights to like the China, so first someone from China over internet could turn on the lights off and on. And can you ask like why? Like why not? We can do this. So that was like the exact answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, another reason might be like if let's say CaletaXP wanted to like somehow generate revenue from our efforts, like there was a business model there, like it's much easier to deal with that in like a separate DAO. You can design the DAO, have like tokenomics and business model for the DAO. So it just makes it much easier to deal with you know, business models if you're kind of isolated and you can control everything. So I don't know. I think there's good reasons to kind of break off if it makes sense.
like regarding the same subject, it might be a bit sidetracked, but like, do you see any like sharded DAOs? That means that like they can be separated and come back together. That might be an interesting concept to even talk about, because I haven't
DAO
seen anyone
spooning.
talking about it.
It's the DAO spooning.
Actually, like I've read a little bit about fractalization of DAOs. I think that that's like something that happens is when a DAO gets too large, it like breaks off like a organism, and I think that there's a point where like it doesn't make sense to have like 1,000 people in a DAO. It's probably just gets chaotic, and so it makes a lot more sense to just fractalize into many different pods and operate more effectively as like little separate organisms. So yeah, I mean, I think that's like the natural evolution probably of many DAOs is to get to that stage.
Yeah, like even technical aspects, like you can have like that much, let's say if there's an array of members or array of proposals, like on solidity, it's really hard to like on a block. Like you would hit like block gas limits like really fast. But like I'm still trying to like come up with like how would that happen? Like, because you would just abandon one DAO and move to the other ones, or is there any possibility to do similar to like child DAOs that it was before, but more organic, as you were saying? I think I'm getting a bit like philosophical here, but like I just want to like continue the conversation.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the specific use case. Like for some models, I don't think it's going to make sense, but for some, it could easily make sense to split off and have different interests. I mean, even like within Metacartel, that kind of started happening with different groups and things like that. And so I think it's kind of a natural process, and you know, Metacartel DAO still exists. There's still people in there, and then there's people in different groups that coexist, right? And I think that's kind of the beauty is that there's no borders. You can add value anywhere you want. You can participate in any community. But in some cases, it doesn't make sense. Specifically, probably like DAOs that have business models and assets, and where you can't really like split like an asset into, or at least not all assets.